If you had asked anyone just a few weeks ago, they would have told you that Papoose and Remy Ma were the definition of loyalty. The couple had weathered storms most people could never imagine. Years behind bars, the constant pressure of fame, critics who never believed in them. And still, no matter what, they always came back to each other, stronger, prouder, ready to remind the world that real love could survive anything. But as it turns out, even the strongest bonds can crack when the pressure gets too high. And sometimes the cracks don't show until the entire foundation gives way. It all began the night Papoose came home earlier than anyone expected. He had been out of town handling business, or at least that's what everyone assumed. Maybe he knew in his gut that something wasn't right, or maybe it was just fate that led him back to that house in the dead of night, a house that was supposed to be a sanctuary. He pulled into the driveway and noticed a black car parked out front. At first, he didn't think much of it. Remy often had colleagues or assistants over. But as he stepped out into the cool air, something about that moment made his chest tighten, like a warning his heart was trying to deliver before his mind caught up. Papoose didn't slam the car door shut. He closed it carefully, quietly, almost like he was afraid to disturb whatever was happening inside. He pulled his phone from his pocket and tapped the camera app open. It wasn't that he wanted to catch Remy doing something. He wanted to reassure himself there was nothing to see, that he was just being paranoid. But the closer he got to the front door, the more that hope started to fade. He unlocked the door slowly, inch by inch, so it wouldn't creak. The hallway was dark, but the faint glow of light was seeping out from under the door that led to the back den. It was the same room where Remy had hosted dozens of late-night meetings over the past few months, always telling him she was just working, just trying to build something new with Eazy the Block Captain. Papoose wanted to believe her. He tried to believe her. But deep down, he had felt that shift, that distance growing every time she looked at her phone and smiled at something she wouldn't share. As he moved down the hallway, he realized the security cameras were recording everything. That's how people described the footage later. Grainy, cold, like something you'd see in a jail. Just shadows and outlines, but enough to piece together a story no one wanted to believe. When Papoose reached the den door, he heard it, laughter. Not the kind of polite, professional laughter that people force out when they're tired and trying to be courteous. It was softer, familiar, the kind of sound you make when you're comfortable with someone, when there are no secrets left between you. He rested his hand on the doorknob, hoping he'd open it to find something innocent, anything but the worst-case scenario playing out in his head. But when he turned it and stepped inside, every fear he'd been carrying turned out to be real. Remy was there, sitting way too close to Eazy. Their hands were touching just for a second, but that second was enough. Enough to split his world right down the middle. People who've seen the leaked footage said you could feel Papoose's heartbreak through the screen. They said you could see the exact moment his face changed from confusion to devastation. He didn't yell right away. He didn't even speak. He just stood there, holding his phone, breathing so heavy it sounded like the only thing keeping him standing. Remy and Eazy both turned around, shocked. Remy's eyes were wide, her mouth opening like she wanted to explain, but no words came out. Eazy pulled his hand back as if that would somehow erase what Papoose had already seen. Papoose finally took a step forward, his voice breaking when he asked, "What is this?" And no one answered. That was almost worse than any confession. The silence, the guilt written all over Remy's face. The way Eazy looked down at the floor because he couldn't meet Papoose's eyes. Everything about it screamed that this wasn't the first time. That whatever this was, it had been building for a long, long time. He turned and stumbled backward, hitting the doorframe as he tried to leave. His phone slipped from his hand and clattered onto the tile. Remy reached for him, but he pulled away so fast it almost knocked her off balance. He was shaking. Witnesses later said he looked like he was going to pass out, and in a way he did, just not all at once. His heart gave out first. That unshakable faith he'd always had in Remy shattered so completely that it left him hollow. He made it as far as the kitchen before his legs buckled. The surveillance cameras caught it all. The way he crumpled to the floor, the way Remy screamed his name, the way Eazy just stood there frozen, looking like he wanted to disappear. Someone in the house called 911. They said Papoose wasn't responsive, that he was breathing but not answering when they spoke to him. When the paramedics arrived, they had to lift him onto a stretcher while Remy sobbed uncontrollably. That's how the footage ended. Papoose being wheeled out of his own home, surrounded by flashing lights and the echo of his wife's cries. By the time the video hit the internet, it was already too late to contain the story. Fans were reposting it within minutes. Headlines started appearing on every gossip site. Papoose collapses after catching Remy Ma with Eazy. Jail-like security footage confirms affair. The speculation went from whispers to full-blown hysteria almost overnight. People online couldn't stop dissecting every second of that video. Some focused on Remy's expression, analyzing whether she looked guilty or just shocked to be caught. Others picked apart Eazy's body language, wondering how long this had been going on and if it had been more than just business all along. But the part that stuck with everyone was the way Papoose collapsed. It was raw, human, proof that even the strongest men can break when the person they trust most betrays them. As Papoose lay in the hospital recovering, Remy tried to reach him over and over. Sources said he refused to take her calls. He needed time, space, anything to process the reality he never thought he'd face. And while he was fighting to heal, the rest of the world kept feasting on every detail of his pain. Remy finally released a statement days later. It was short, almost clinical. "We are dealing with a private matter. Please respect our family during this difficult time." But the damage was already done. People were taking sides, accusing, defending, speculating. Fans who had once worshipped them as hip-hop royalty were now saying the love had been a lie all along. Eazy tried to clear the air in his own way. He posted a live video insisting nothing happened, that people were twisting what they saw. But nobody was buying it. Not when the footage showed their hands together. Not when Remy hadn't offered any real explanation. Not when Papoose was still in the hospital because of the toll it took on him. Inside the family, things were far messier than the public could ever guess. Behind the headlines and carefully worded captions, there was tension you could slice with a knife. Relatives were furious. Heated phone calls, side eyes at gatherings, silent group chats exploding with messages. Some pointed fingers directly at Remy. She broke the home. Others blamed Eazy. He knew exactly what he was doing. And then there were the quiet murmurs, the ones that hurt the most. Maybe Papoose knew. Maybe he saw it coming, and just didn't want to face it. Even their closest friends, the ones who'd always been in their corner, didn't know what to say anymore. How do you comfort someone when the whole world is watching their heartbreak unfold in real time? Everyone waited, holding their breath, watching Papoose, wondering when he'd finally speak. Would he deny? Would he rage? Would he forgive? But when his words finally came, they weren't what anyone expected. No name-calling, no public takedowns. Just heartbreak, raw and stripped down, wrapped in a few quiet sentences. Sometimes the people you love most hurt you in ways you never imagined. I'm taking time to focus on my health and my family. Thank you for your prayers. That was it. No drama, no theatrics, no answers. Just pain bleeding through every word. People close to the situation say that shortly after being discharged from the hospital, Papoose packed a few bags and left. No scene, no shouting, just silence. He didn't take much, just the basics and a few memories he still wasn't sure he wanted. A watch she gifted him. A picture of the three of them, smiling in better times. Things that once meant forever now felt like anchors tied to betrayal. Remy stood in the doorway as he pulled off. Her arms crossed tightly across her chest like she was holding herself together by force. There were no words left between them, only the sound of an engine fading down the street. She knew he wasn't just leaving the house. He was leaving everything they built. And the cruelest part, she couldn't rewind, couldn't erase the moment that changed everything. Some choices come with echoes. This one came with silence. The internet still hasn't shut up about it. Every time a new photo drops, Papoose spotted at the studio, eyes heavy with exhaustion, or Remy stepping out with her girls, all glam and trying to give unbothered, it sparks another wildfire online. Theories, threads, and TikTok breakdowns flood in. Are they working it out behind the scenes? Is this the end of an era? Did she ever love him like he loved her? Or was he just holding on to a fantasy? Everyone has questions. No one has answers. Not even the two people caught in the eye of the storm. Because once trust is broken, it's not about time anymore. It's not about history. It's not about how many cute anniversary posts you shared or how many years you stood by each other's side. One moment, one decision can burn it all to ash. And there's no guidebook for how to rise from that kind of fire. No reset button. Some fans are still holding on, praying for a reconciliation. Real love deserves another shot, they say. But others, they're not so forgiving. There's no coming back from public humiliation, they argue. Some lines once crossed stay crossed. And maybe both sides are right. Or maybe no one really knows what's right anymore. Not the fans, not the blogs, maybe not even Remy and Papoose themselves. Because when heartbreak gets this loud, this messy, clarity is the first thing to disappear. All we know is this: they're still in it. Whether that means healing together or walking away for good, only time will tell. And the internet, well, it'll keep watching either way. If you're still watching, thank you for sticking through this heavy story. Drop a comment below and tell me what you think. Should Papoose try to rebuild with Remy? Or is this the end of their story? And don't forget to subscribe if you want more real stories, because sometimes life is more shocking than fiction.